Hi, I'm Eric Arnold, and I'm going to go through my favorite activities that I did for this ePortfolio. And I'm going to go ahead and start with my favorite district activities that I completed. So, the first one that I completed was a task that we were given about discussing to the Board of Education about collaboration. I chose to put that into my portfolio as a district activity. Number one, collaboration is protected time that they have at the high school level. So they get out every week, I think, an hour early so that they can have collaboration. That is not something we get at the middle school or the elementary school levels. And I really wish that they understood that that's just important for us. And while it's easier for us to have plan times because we don't have as many classes that need to be covered for subbing and such like that, we don't get on uninterrupted plan time ever. So for them getting that an hour a week, I really would like to be able to do that for everyone. So that's why I chose this one and put it in there. So when you click on my activity, you can see why my slideshow. It's very, very brief. It will go through just why it's necessary and what the benefits are for teacher-teacher collaboration, how to implement it. It'll go through school parent collaboration. It goes through school community partnerships, and then just goes over some effective collaboration takes. So I feel like that was a very important activity, and I really enjoyed it. My second district activity that I would like to talk about was my very last activity, and I had talked to both the middle school principal about hiring and looking at candidates, and I did go over some candidate info with her. I did the same and talked about that with my district principal. But when it really came down to it, what I believe liberal needs is something to draw people in. When I went to teacher recruitment last year, I was asked to go for the day someplace close. And what I noticed is that it's very hard to bring new educators over to your booth if you don't have some show or some pizzazz or something that's drawing them in. That's not something that Liberal has, but what Liberal does have is a very, very rich culture and some amazing traditions. I'm sorry, I tried to turn those notifications off. I thought they were all off. But I think that if I was able to share, and this would click right to my YouTube video all about our community, and it really discussed things that happen. And if we could put that on a loop and play, I think we might be able to get some more teachers here. At least that's my hope. So that was a really, really cool video for me to make. I really, really enjoyed it. And I have shared that with some of our district people, and maybe it will be used so we can get some new people out here in Liberal. So those were the two district ones that I really, really enjoyed doing and I thought were most important. So when I move into then, our next would be the elementary level activities. So my first elementary level activity that I really, really liked doing through our leadership team this year is we had a meeting where we talked about our underrepresented population. And the reason that we did that was we each chose advocacy groups to advocate for when we were looking at making any decisions that we're making throughout our leadership team. So what we did is you can see through here, like they gave us a list of kind of what our populations are, what they look like, our ELL, SPED population, our free and reduced. So we looked at that, and then we named a bunch of other minorities that might be in our school. And as you can see, what we found out was actually people that are never really considered minorities, which are just white people in our school. With us only having 7% white students, that means that our white parents are extremely underrepresented. And that's not typical, especially where I grew up in central New York, but we do have a high Hispanic population in our building. So yeah, that was interesting to learn. And as you can see, I'm always an advocate for the SPED students. I am a SPED teacher, and that's just who I am. I also am an advocate for behavior students. That is a huge part of my role in the building, and one of my big leadership roles is I am the chair for the behavior team in our building. And I'm also an advocate for mental health, because I think that a lot of times we forget about things like mental health and how it affects our students. My next one that I really wanted to talk about was this one here, which was when we did publics and communication. So when I click on my chart, this is going to take you to the video that I'm not going to play, but I'm going to do that just so you can see my chart. It's pretty crazy, and it's very hard sometimes to go through and look at. But I explained it, I hope, really well on my video. And the reason that I added this to my highlights is because I was so surprised at all of the programs and things that we have in place in our elementary school that we don't know about. There are a lot of things that happen behind the scenes with our counselor and our social worker and a lot of community agencies that are helping kids within our school and helping families within our school. And I had no idea that those were happening, because I don't need to know that they're happening. They need to know that that's happening, and they need to make sure that those needs are being met. But I was just really, really surprised, and it really made me feel good to know that there are a lot of things happening, a lot of needs are being met, a lot of students are being cared for, a lot of families are being cared for. So looking through all those resources and things we use, and then making that flow chart, and then making the video to explain it, that is something that we, the principal and I have talked about sharing with our staff, because, as I said, there's a lot of things that happen that we don't know about. And I think that we need to give our counselor and our social worker maybe a little bit more credit sometimes than we do. And yeah, it was just an amazing thing for me to learn. So I was really happy with that. It made my heart feel good. And it also made me feel good to know that we have really a lot of community partnerships too. My last task that I chose was my building professional capacity. And, we did do our KEEP evaluation, and I don't know if I could have used that here, but so when we came back from COVID year in 2020, we did come back to in-person school. We had a lot of kids in our school, and what our district did is we should have had 3 special education teachers. And that wasn't something that happened. Our 3rd teacher was the district online teacher, because she was not able to come to school that year. So she did all of the online school, because online school was an option for parents as well. So what that meant is all of the kids in the building got split up between myself and this lovely girl here, and she, the year before, was one of our teacher aides, and they moved her into an interim special education position. Now, that being said, not a big deal. We can help her out, except for I had 23 kids on my caseload, and she had 22, and the district told us that we had to have every single IEP on our caseload completed by the end of the first quarter. So basically, this kid was thrown into some real deep waters. I call it IEP-ageddon. And there was a lot of support and feedback and all kinds of things that happened through that process. And now the next 3 years, that's what I've been doing with her. I've given her feedback. I've supported her improvement. We worked on things together. So I'm also very proud of what I've done with her And I'm also very proud to say that we've become very close, and she's now one of my very best friends. So for my secondary activities, my first one that I really, really liked was when we talked about, and I did my Prezi for gender inclusion. So this will click to that Prezi. I want to say I was extremely surprised by some of the statistics. It actually was very, very high for me. I didn't know that many kids felt unwelcome, and it made me really sad. And I really tried to come up with some good ideas that we can do to do our best to make children feel more welcome. So I really like this. I learned a lot. I learned a lot in talking with both the high school principal and the middle school principals on issues like this that I was unaware of. And yeah, I learned a lot. The last one that I want to talk about was the scheduling, because middle school scheduling and elementary school scheduling are completely different worlds. So I learned about the beans, the buses, and the band, which means you have to keep bus schedules and things. Breaks and lunches always have to be in place. And if you're sharing a band teacher, that's what the middle school teacher told me, or principal told me, was what he learned. He shared that with me. It made a lot of sense. I will say I always thought elementary school schedules can look crazy, especially with the colors. I'll stick to them over middle school any day. So those were my very favorite activities. I did a lot of things. I learned a lot through this program. I hope that you enjoy going through my whole Eportfolio, and thank you for your guidance and support over the last year. I really, truly appreciate it.